It's good to be back. First things first, I missed y'all, but we got a lot of stuff to go over. A little bit of a channel update. There's quite a few things going on. Got the Nova in the shop. We're going to be starting the wheel tubs today. Going to chop this up into a few different pieces. We're going to go pretty quick on that. There's a really good install video by Detroit Speed on how to install the wheel tub, so I'm not going to cover any of that footage. If you want to know how they go in step by step, hit the link below, take you right to their video on the perfect install, because surely everything's not going to go right for me today. Quite a few parts in the shop. We've got wheel tubs, paint and body stuff, new differential fluid for the rear axle. It's the same stuff that we had in there, but we're supposed to take it apart and clean it out after 500 miles, which we've successfully done. And Rock Auto is a box of ignition parts to see if we can get this 6-cylinder running a little better. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, it's cold in the shop today. It's like 12 degrees outside, so we got the heat running. You're just gonna have to deal with that. Packaging, 10 out of 10. Instructions and templates, 10 out of 10. Product condition, 8.5 out of 10. Take a look at this. They're packaged very well. They've been finished very well. There's no razor sharp edges. There's a little bit of a burr. That's nothing I won't take care of during the installation process. I'm fine with that. Looks like they've been sitting around for a little while. Might have got moist. Who knows if that happened in transport or in my basement, which is dry and finished, but not super stoked. And there's a little bit of damage here where it looks like this got bent. I don't think I mentioned this in my other videos, but the wheel tubs I got from Hot Rods to Hell were so poorly packaged. They were pretty bent to pieces by the time they showed up. They are salvageable, but it's a lot more work than I wanted to put into a set of ready fit wheel tubs, so I bought these. Not really disappointed in this. This can be fixed pretty easily in comparison to what I was working with before. A little bit of rust on this one. Actually in pretty good condition. So first things first, we gotta take out a little bit of interior, protect the glass on the inside to make sure it doesn't get any damage from sparks or debris flying around. Seal up whatever we can do to keep the rest of the vehicle nice and clean. Then we're gonna pull the suspension and axle out, try to set that aside so it can get cleaned up, and then get to work. So we're gonna get this thing up on the rack, get the axle out. You've seen that plenty of times, so I don't need to bore you through that again. We'll come back in just a few. You might find this interesting. Here's a sample of what was on that magnet that we put on the drain plug. So you can see this caught a whole bunch of different little metal shavings. As we start to wipe this off here, you can get a really good look at all the stuff that kept out of the gear mesh and the differential splines. I think it did a pretty good job. I'm not super concerned with the amount of stuff that's in there because this was a brand new gear set and break-in. If this happened again, it might be a little unnerving, but for the meantime, we've got the diff draining out all the way back there, and we're gonna take a look at what's inside the case in a little bit. Hey, come take a look. quick update, and you guys were really interested last time I was working on the rear suspension, diff, and whatnot, how long each of those segments took. So time-wise, how long will it take me to install this? How long will it take me to do that? So we're about 4 hours deep right now. Greg came over, helped me put about 3.5 hours in. We spent a little bit of that time going up to the computer, watching the Detroit Speed video to get the best angle and idea of a couple of cuts. And you can see here, we've got the big pieces out. We've got rough cut edges all the way around so we can get a little bit more action in there to work. We've got the side seat brackets cut out on both sides. Instructions. And interior. So inside here you can see there's a big support bracket that used to go here. That's what's in the trunk right there. Got the spot welds all cut out, and we use a tool called a roto broach, and what that is a fancy spot weld cutter here. The end of this is spring loaded, so you center punch it and then you set that up. You get this guy on here and then you can drill out your spot welds. This thing is, I believe, a carbide tip, very sharp, cuts very quickly. If you use an electric drill, you want to run it on low because you'll burn up these cutters doing it everything at high speed. You want to try and keep these lasting as long as you can because they are not super cheap. And if you buy the kit, it comes with a center punch. You saw the mandrel on the actual drill, and then you've got several cutters, all different sizes ranging from 5/16 to 3/4 inch. So you can do some pretty gnarly stuff with these guys. A couple extra spacers, washers for the way that the mandrel mounts, extra tips which are really just nails, and then a tool for when you need to service spring or anything else inside of the bit. There's recommended cut speeds for the different types of material that you have on here as well. Give them a check. I think this thing's pretty swanky. So you can see, even this 1964 car has been really well kept. This stuff would be a little more rusted out if it was ever in a damp environment or a moist area. You'd see anywhere these seams and stuff pinched up, which is where the factory couldn't paint very well. So we haven't stripped anything off of this. This is just how it came apart. Pretty impressed. And then obviously back here we've got our modification that we did in our other videos where we had to cut this pocket out and kind of fancy it up, go a little bit different route. We're going to be getting better access to this obviously now, so we're going to clean up all these edges, weld the back side of it, prep it, paint it, and get it all squared away with the rest of the wheel tubs, which are going to come out right where this line is, up to the edge of those and on over. Woohoo! Now that is some fatty boom batty wheel tubs. So we're looking good so far, but we've got a little bit more trimming and fitting to do. Oh, hey there. So there's one thing they don't tell you in the DSC video or instructions about test fitting, and that is you have to remove this lap joint in the front no matter what. They tell you in the instructions that you can bend it back out of the way. In the video, they just go ahead and replace theirs, but this will not go in correctly if you don't take that out. So I suggest just cutting it out from the get-go and making a new one. That'll save you some time. Also, when you're test fitting your wheel tub, you need to come in from underneath the car, push it up through the back about 3 or 4 inches too far, then loop in the front, and then hook that in, slide it all forward, and drop the back end into place. So at this point you can see we've got a couple gaps and things, but it's actually not a bad deal right now. Straighten up that wavy line a little bit. Once I get this clamped in, that's going to come up. We're going to weld the frame closeout on here, so it's a 14 gauge layer that goes across the top of all this. Then we're going to take pliers or big channel locks or C-clamps, whatever you got, and pinch this up to that to close that gap up when we weld all this stuff in. Right now I've got both sides fitting pretty good. I'm going to pull them out and start to work on the frame closeouts. Oh, in a time frame update and general safety warning, you probably want to use a respirator and some really good safety glasses. These are prescription. They've got foam pads on the inside, and that really helps keep all the extra crap out of your eyes. Now for your face, nose, lungs, and everything else, a good respirator beyond just a regular dust mask would be super advisable. You see all of this iron and content and steel, whatever else, rubber undercoating, paint, who knows. Probably not any lead in here, but if you're getting into the floor carpeting, there's probably asbestos padding underneath that. So in saying all that, just be careful. This stuff's also not really good for camera gear, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. So we've not pinched it up yet, but you can see here's a quick look at what it looks like underneath. Got a little bit of trimming to do right here and right there. Gonna take it out to those two magic marker lines, clean up the bottom edge so it matches the top edge, and work those frame closeouts in. We've cut out our templates and delicately taped everything onto the sheet metal, making sure to very cautiously not tape around a corner joint so it's easy to mark up later in the future. Planning your tape lines now will critically improve the quality of your cuts when you're trimming this out. We also took and made one end of these frame closeouts slightly longer due to the radius of how this needs to kick out, and make sure that I have plenty of rear clearance on the passenger side of the tire. Not sure what Detroit Speed recommends a tire size, but doing some rough measurements, I needed a little bit more room than what this closeout was going to allow me. Then you get your marker and you trace ever so carefully all around the entire templates, and then remove your tape and template from the sheet metal. And everything that you've ever learned in kindergarten and first grade is now pinging on this entire moment. You must very carefully connect the dots. And then we have success. And we can go back to work. So as we continue to work on the Nova here for the next couple of weeks and get it ready to get back on the road for the spring and summer session, and then we're going to work on the engine and some other things while the car is still running and driving. So stick around and check that out. You're also going to see some other types of content coming out on the channel via how-to videos and some other things on unrelated to the Nova build. If this is all you're here for, stick around. There's going to be a lot more content coming. Don't you worry about it. If you want to see a more variety of different types of things, we got tool tips, tips and tricks for working in the garage, homeowner, hobbyist type repairs and easy hacks, as well as some assembly videos. And those are the things that help keep the channel growing. Also, huge thank you to 200 subscribers, Carl Kuma. We appreciate you very much, along with everyone else that watches the Epic Tim content. That's all we've got for this version of Epic Tim Installs Wheel Tubs, but we'll be right back at you here in a few. We got to get this thing back on the road and ready to hit a few cruises this season. Thanks for watching Epic Tim. I hope you had a good time, and if you need some more content in your life, hit that subscribe button. You'll be able to follow up on every video, on every build we got here. And if you're new to the channel, this is a pro touring setup. After this wheel tub setup, I'm going to put all the rear end stuff back in. We've got a Ford 9-inch over there, Willwood brakes, big wheels and tires, and on the bench under the cover right over there, you'll see soon enough a Speedway front end kit. V8, eventually a supercharger. It's going to be a real good time. You're not going to want to miss it.